guys, welcome back to We Watch Movie. I'm Mike, and the Saw movie reviews continue. I've had a blast doing this. It's really fun going through these and seeing your all's thoughts. So thank you guys for watching this. I really appreciate it. Saw 6. I heard from you guys. You said, hey, this one's going to be better. This one's going to bring you right back in from the dark, dark place that you were after watching Saw 5. And yeah, it is better. It is better. I'll say that. So the movie starts out and we've got our new trap. And I love the way that these movies open now. You just know you're going in. It's like we're going straight in. You know, we're going in raw. We're going in sandy. I don't know what that means, but it's happening. We're going straight into a Saw trap with these movies. And you do. And this one, it's so funny because Jay and I shot during the day yesterday. So I went to bed early and then I woke up. I couldn't sleep at like 2 o'clock in the morning. Was not feeling well mentally. You know, you just wake up and you're just having those off nights. You're like, ugh, couldn't sleep. So I turn on Saw 6 and this opening's what I see, which is the last. I'm just sitting here eating pumpkin spice Cheerios. And as soon as they get into it, this dude's like, hey, watch me cut the fat off my fucking stomach. And you're just like, Jesus Christ, this was a mistake. Anyways, steak. He tells each of these people, hey, look, fill the bucket with the most flesh than the other person, or these screws are going to continue, giant bolts are going to continue to tighten until they impale your head and kill you. You're playing a game against someone else, which, by the way, I'm just saying, once again, Jigsaw, it makes you a murderer. If you put someone in a trap from which one of them will not be able to escape and there's no chance both of them can survive, you are literally murdering them. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to fucking hear it, pal. And he'll do that later in the movie as well. But yeah, this is so sick. The fat dude's like, I know exactly what I'm going for. Might as well lose weight while I'm here. And just starts huffing at his own fat. And believe me, I've considered it. But yeah, you just see his insides and it's super gross looking. And then on her part, she's like, oh, I don't have any fat. And I'm going to have to cut off my arm. So she starts cutting her arm. And it's so mean the way it's done. Because there's no thought about it. They both are like, hey, I read about Jigsaw in the news. Fucking, here we go. Yeah, like immediate. And they start doing this and the way she does it and then realizes she has to go higher. So it's like the meanest thing you could think of as a writer. But she starts here and then she realizes fat dude is like doing a good job and he's ahead in the race. So she just has to start over again here because she knows she's going to need more weight. Just a mean opening. We're back. I mean, we are back, Saw, with this opening. And I gotta say, the whole movie, it's not too much different cinematography-wise or whatever. It still feels like a Saw movie, but it does feel a bit more polished. And I don't know if that helps the movie or makes it feel kind of weird. I haven't really decided on it, but it does as a whole feel a little bit more polished and clean. And this one involves mainly this insurance guy, William, who's a huge piece of shit, who's just like all proud of himself. And they did a great job casting because he just looks like a smug fucking asshole that I want to take a Whopper and shove it in his face and wipe that shit-eating grin off his face. You eat pieces of shit for breakfast? Wait, what? And they basically fuck people over, and this guy died because he couldn't get the proper health care because his insurance dropped him with some shady bullshit like this. And this dude's so smug and full of himself. They're like, how do you find this stuff out? He's like, I got the dog pen out there, and they find everything. And it's like, all right, bro, calm the fuck down. When's the next fire festival? But he gets put in one of Jigsaw's traps along with the poor fucking janitor. And like his whole thing with the janitor guy, he's like, he smokes despite having a history of heart disease and high blood pressure, so fuck that guy. And it's like, once again, Jigsaw, you really got to start finding better people for these traps. That guy does not, because he's fucking smokes cigarettes. You're such a pompous dick. The idea, it's another really well thought out, super simple, but super freaky Saw trap, where the more they breathe, the tighter these cinder blocks get on their chests until they explode. So they're sitting there trying not to hold their breath and not breathe, but you have to breathe. So eventually the one dude's chest just completely caves in and it's gnarly. So as he goes through this abandoned zoo, there's other kills that happen too. He comes across this one screen and it actually makes me laugh my ass off because when he pulls the pulleys, Jigsaw's puppet just fucking slaps the goddamn glass and it's like, what the fuck? It's like that scene in Dark Knight where the dude with the, oh, by the way, this I should explain. We were doing the Michael Myers videos yesterday. I'm not entering my AFI phase of emo and eyeliner just yet, but if it's still there, that shit's hard to wash out, man. But this one's pretty simple. He's like, hey, which one of these fuckers do you want to die? She is old and she's older, but she has people who love her. And this guy's young, but you know, he looks like Nate the Great from Ted Lasso and nobody will miss him if he's gone. And the dude struggles with it. He has to pick one to die. It's sort of the old Batman scenario. And Joker's like, save your girlfriend or your best friend. Or maybe that was Spider-Man. I don't know. You get it. They probably both did it at some point. But it's crazy because he has them each with barbed wire wrapped around their necks, which is fucked up. Like the thought of being dropped and being hung is gnarly enough. But when you add barbed wire to it, No, says I. And by the way, can I just say that I love Jigsaw's shoes? I mean, they're just so shiny. I mean, everything about him's so happy until you get to his little fucked up maniacal face. The next kill, I'm actually not a big fan of. I think some people may be, but it's the carousel. And they put a bunch of his insurance associates on this carousel. And basically, he puts his hands in this thing and he can pick 2 to survive. And again, you're absolutely killing 4 fucking people here, regardless of what happens. So you're literally a murderer now, Jigsaw. And I know that he had help with Hoffman or whatever. We'll get to all that. It gets wild and crazy, kid. And the one dude who looks like a young version of Chipper Jones is so pissed because he knows he picked the other ones. He's like, well, I guess that's fucking it, isn't it? I guess we're all out of fucking free passes. And then he's like, you look at me face to face when you fuck me. I mean, kill me. And it's so over dramatic and wild. That guy was terrible. But that scene happens. We go on. And this entire time, you've had this trap open with this mom and this really annoying looking Ezra Miller kid who definitely has attitude problems. I understand his dad's passed away. There's a whole story there, but all I'm saying is I kind of wanted her to hit him upside the head and tell him to sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up and stop whining. Stop acting like Ezra Miller at a karaoke bar. But they're trapped there with this vat of acid and they don't know what's going on. As it turns out, when this whole thing wraps around and he gets to the trap, he's just in the cage between them and this shitty, salacious journalist, and who's his sister. And the trap is actually for the widow and her son, because they're going to decide whether or not this guy who just went through all Jigsaw's traps and survived lives or dies, which makes you think, like, what if he didn't survive one of those traps? What would have happened then? They'd be like, oh, sorry, he actually is already dead. So I appreciate you coming, but we don't have the video that you're here to rent. Like, what was going to happen then? But this dude's death was so badass. It's one of the best ones of the whole series because this vat, they pull the lever because they decide, hey, fuck you, you're a piece of shit and you're the reason our dad's dead and I hope you die and you're gonna die right now. So says I. Pull the lever. And then this thing falls down and it just stabs him, pumps him with these cords and shit, and the acid vat drops into him. So he's injected with acid throughout his body, and you watch his lower sides literally melt out of him. And I think it's one of the most underrated kills I've ever seen, man. I think the genius there, the ingenuity is just fucking on display, and I don't think this kill gets enough credit. What a cool idea. So sick. So fucking sick. Please don't kill me that way, whoever's out there who plans to kill me. Just not that way. I mean, don't at all. But the big story to this one is we're continuing to unravel Detective Hoffman's character. The last movie was totally about him and his whole backstory and how that whole thing went down. This one creates some tension between him and Amanda, because there's this one point where she's like, stick to the heavy lifting, pal, when he's setting up one of the traps. And she's like, do you need some pudding, Jigsaw? I'll get you some pudding. Do you want to suck for my titty? She looks at him and she's like, I'm not going anywhere. He's like, you sure about that? And they have this weird rivalry between them. And then you find out the big twist of the movie is that Hoffman knew something that we didn't fucking know about Amanda, and that's she was with that dude Cecil the night he broke in the clinic and, if so facto, killed their baby, or caused their miscarriage to happen. Why can't I speak? Amanda was there with him and she was like grabbing his dick and she was like, go break in that clinic and get me some drugs. And he's like, all right, I will. And that's what caused the whole thing to happen. So fucking wild. Of course, I'm like, maybe I just missed something. Maybe Jigsaw did know that and that's why he did the bear trip. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just missed something. Maybe I'm fucking stupid. I don't know. Yeah, I'm probably fucking stupid. I'm doing my goddamn best. Why don't you put me in a fucking Jigsaw trap? For years, you made a mistake in a YouTube video. That's probably honestly what Jigsaw would do at this point. His motives for this shit are getting worse and worse as we go. Anyway, I thought the best part of the movie was what they did with Hoffman here, because the FBI dude is still on his case, and the one chick who had Jigsaw explode all over her face, you fucking perverts, is still alive, and they faked her death, and they're kind of sketchy on him. So they bring him in, and they're basically onto him. They realize that the fingerprints that he was putting on people's fucking eyelids from Strom's dead body and framing him, they were like, the guy said that those couldn't have come from someone who was alive. They came from someone who's dead. And he kind of sits there like when your parents open your report card that you were trying to hide and just like sweating like a motherfucker, and he knows what's going to happen soon. And then they backlog his voice and get the actual voice that he was using on the tapes. And when his voice starts to play, the jig is up, and he's standing in this room with these 3 people, FBI agents, and just pulls out a knife and just goes fucking Rambo on everyone and has to kill them on the spot with a knife. And it's a great scene. And I think it's a scene that Saul needed. Like, we've been doing the same exact thing, kind of like with extra caveats here and there and unraveling story. But for the most part, things were getting kind of stale. A scene like this kind of shows who Hoffman is and that he will go fucking ape shit, and he has the capabilities to hand-to-hand combat kill people this way. And I just think that that scene added a whole new wrinkle of violence to the franchise that I hope it goes forward with and does some more things like that with, to just add some spice to it, Steve. And that's when Jill comes in, because Jill, there was this whole box that Jill was left and it had the remaining victims in it. And I am going to say this about it. This entire thing is getting way too fucking convoluted at this point. Like, I understand what's happening, but when you piece it together, you're like, how the fuck did anybody have time to set up all this elaborate shit? The whole posthumous fucking Jigsaw thing is really getting stretched thin at this point in the franchise. Like, there's no way he planned this fucking much. No way. And there's no way Hoffman's been able to get all this shit done from between here and now. It's crazy. But anyways, Jill, I'm not even gonna get into the backstory of it all. So the whole idea was that Jigsaw wanted his wife to continue his work, and Hoffman was the last one on his list of shit to do. Not do, that would be very uncomfortable. I don't think of Jigsaw as a cuck, but honestly, his morals are pretty fucking baggy. So she gets the reverse bear trap on, and that's not a sex move, she gets the reverse bear trap on Hoffman, and so that he can be tested in this final scene. And I'm like, hey, that doesn't really make sense, because like Jigsaw doesn't seem like the kind of guy to like reuse traps over and over again. And for someone this important, he probably wanted to think of something way more hardcore. But maybe he was thinking about Jill and thinking, hey, let's give you a fucking easy one to set up, because this shit's pretty difficult. Either way, that was a great scene and a great way to end the movie, because he's struggling with it and he breaks through this glass and uses the bars on the window so that the trap only goes half off and stops itself. And then he falls down to the ground, and awesome practical effects here. His face is just ripped halfway open and like dick dangling out of his mouth, and he like screams, and you're like, oh my God. That was fucking cool, number one. Number two, you're going to have a badass scar. Really going to be like the Jigsaw. Like, you're going to look like the bad guy from the fucking Punisher movies, Jigsaw. Can't wait to see how pissed you are in the next movie. I really hope we continue with Hoffman, because he's become very interesting to me over these past few movies. And then there's a post-credit sequence where they're like, oh yeah, remember that girl who like was locked in the thing who we never talked about? For some reason, they show Amanda going down to her and being like, hey, remember not to trust the guy who rescues you. So I imagine that that's going to lead us into the next movie in the plot. And what's going to happen, I don't know where that's going to go. We'll find out. But overall, I will say this. The traps in Saw 6 were way better. They were way snazzier. They were way updated. They were more well thought out, simple in the right places. We did get a little bit wayward with the storyline again, and having these people in this trap and not knowing what they're there for the whole movie. But ultimately, it did land with that asshole insurance guy getting really what he deserved. I thought the evil insurance storyline and showing how that went down with Tobin Bell, and this kind of maybe leads to Saw 10 a little bit, because he's wanting to go and get this crazy cancer therapy done, but they won't pay for it. And I wonder if this is how we tie it into 10. We'll see. But I like that storyline. I love the whole evil insurance company storyline that they went with. That feels like a plausible thing that Jigsaw would actually do, and a cool thing for the Saw franchise to dip its bloody foot in. Dip its bloody toe in. Fuck you, pal. Don't judge me. But even though it's still a little convoluted, they do go back in a fancy way and really shore up some plot holes from 3, including we find out that Mark blackmailed her and wrote her the letter, and that's why she killed the girl. And I gotta tell you, man, I wish some franchises like Halloween maybe take some notes from Saw as far as retconning fucking plot holes from previous movies and actually making them better. I'm kidding. I don't actually want to see movies do this, but they did a really great job going back and tidying up some of the details from these previous movies in the writing. And I won't say it gives those movies a pass, because those movies are what they are despite what they've done in the future, but it was kind of neat how they were able to do that. The best part of the movie was definitely the Hoffman murder scene. I think the franchise definitely needed that wrinkle at this point. And yeah, I thought it was a little bit better than the previous entries overall, even though I really think we're stretching the posthumous Jigsaw storyline out as far as this fucker will go. I think they really made a mistake possibly killing off Jigsaw, because they have to keep force finding ways to get Tobin Bell into these movies, which I don't disagree with, because I want to see Tobin Bell in the movies too, but it's like, maybe you shouldn't have killed him off so early. But they tightened a lot of stuff up on this one. I'm going to give it a 6.5 ultimately. I enjoyed it a little bit more than the previous 2 films. On to Saw 3D. I think this is the one with Chester Bennington in it. I'm fucking excited. this is the last Saw, right? Until we start to get to the prequels and the Spiral and shit like that. So this is the last of the original Saw movies. I'm excited. Thanks for watching these, and I hope you guys have an awesome day. Hey, I hope you don't fucking have a pig stab you in the neck with a needle and wake up in a goddamn saw trap. If we're not doing that, we're killing it, guys. Have a great day. Halloween never ends. Suck my fucking dick, and I don't really care what Blumhouse fucking says. Put him in a box or suck a fucking cock. You can say he's dead, but we all know he's not. Yeah. So let's go trick-or-treating, let's go fucking drinking, let's all go rent Pumpkinhead on VHS. Cause Halloween never ends, Halloween never ends, Halloween never ends, yeah.